headed to the video shoots.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
How about we ask them what we should talk about?
Well, guys, what should we talk about?
What should we talk about? Any topics that you've always wanted to hear what Cora had in mind, like what her opinions were on this particular topic? We were thinking about doing toxic relationships since we had just released Toxic Love 4 or 5 days ago, so we could talk about toxic relationships.
What's your take on? Have you ever had a toxic love?
Yeah.
What was it like?
I think most toxic love doesn't feel like toxic love when you're in it.
Yeah.
Because you're so in love that you don't really realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you can be manipulated really easily into staying around, and, you know, it just isn't good for you, and you don't even realize that it isn't good for you. I feel that's the most toxic kind of love, is when you don't even realize that it's toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you do know that it's toxic, but you don't want to accept it. You don't want to be realistic with yourself, and you don't want to... Or you know that it's toxic, you know all of how horrible that it is, but you still stick around. Why? Is it because of the sex? Is it because of money? Is it because it's convenient to be with that person? Sometimes people just stay with each other because they know that their families like each other. Right?
That's sad. Yeah.
That's a big thing, especially like more high profile celebrities and royal families. That happens a lot, you know? And I feel like that's toxic. That's very toxic. Who wants to stay in something like that, you know? And also there's the Stockholm syndrome, where like, you know that it's bad for you, you know it's traumatic for you, you know it hurts to be in the relationship, but you stay anyway because you've grown an attachment to them, and you've almost learned to find peace in all of the turmoil and all of the trauma and all of the pain.
And the chaos becomes your normal.
Yes. And then there's, I think the most toxic of all is when you have something that holds you to the relationship.
Oh my God.
Children is a big one. Where all that happens is resentment. You start to resent each other, and you start to
literally hate each other's guts. Literally.
So I feel like all of those are really good examples of it. And then I think toxic love is also when another example is when neither partner will say, you're not right for me. They're just, because it's already set up, because it would take too much money, time to get divorced or to leave each other, they just stay together because they feel that they're holding on to something that isn't even really the love. It's more of just like, you're just staying together just because you don't want your friends to wonder why you broke up. You don't want anybody asking why this is the issue, why this and that. And the relationship can be over, but you still stick together because of the label, because it would be too embarrassing to leave each other, and for your friends and family and everybody that knows that you're together to find out that you're not together anymore. And that shit is like, that's like a trap. Like, I would never want to be in anything like that. Thankfully, my toxic relationship that I was in, or the 2 toxic relationships that I was in, wasn't really anything that I had just mentioned. Like, none of those scenarios of toxic relationships. It was more of just like, it was toxic mostly because I didn't want to leave the relationship, because I'm a big lover, because I believe in love and I fight for love, and in those kind of scenarios I kind of was the toxic one, because I didn't want to believe the fact that it wasn't going to work out. I wanted it to work so bad that I was delusional, and I would tell myself it's okay.
Yeah, but everyone around you is saying, hey, it isn't okay.
And at that point, are you really the toxic one? Or is your partner really the toxic one, or is it you that you won't be honest with yourself?
I think
you're toxic to yourself in a way.
Yeah. Situationally toxic.
Yeah, situationally toxic. What about you?
Mine is kind of like public news. You just Google my name.
But is that the only toxic love that you've had, or have you had other toxic loves in the past too?
Yeah.
You have?
That's the only one.
Oh, that is the only one. Really?
Yeah, every other one has just been like, hey, okay, so we grow older and we're no longer, you know, in the same wavelength, and that's fine, and we can move on with each other's lives, you know.
So in other words, you're saying Americans are the most toxic.
Never said that.
Yeah, you didn't have to. You didn't have to, but no, I feel you. No, that makes sense. It does make sense, though, why you might not have experienced a toxic relationship until you got here. Were most of your other boyfriends not from here as well? Like, were they from Nigeria?
Yeah, but granted, I had never gotten married. I was married, you know.
Yeah.
So marriage is a different ballgame.
Marriage is a completely different ballgame.
So.
I think marriage makes toxic relationships even more toxic.
Like,
that's what I think. Like, I think it definitely makes a situation that is already toxic all the more toxic. You know, it makes it unlivable. You know, it makes it hard to be able to if you did want to, for instance, move on from that person, it makes it so much harder. You know, there's paperwork, there's legal work, people can get petty, you know?
It took me 1 year to get divorced and $100,000.
Yep.
At least. No. Minus the $50,000 I had to pay in divorce settlements.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's wild.
So you better be careful and make sure she signs an alimony. Or like a prenup.
Prenups, yep.
Did I say alimony?
Yeah, that prenup signed. You bet your ass. I'm not dealing with that shit.